This issue began with a flight pattern. A heavy Ukrainian transport aircraft landing several times at Ben-Gurion Airport with no explanation, no official statement, and accompanied by Israeli military containers. This pattern quickly drew the attention of international security analysts, especially because Israel has recently seized a large amount of weapons from Hamas and Hezbollah. Weapons that, in theory, match Ukraine's needs on the battlefield. There is no confirmed proof, but the visual data and geopolitical context have pushed this issue into global discussion. The Ukrainian Antonov An-124 is not a regular aircraft. It is a strategic heavy-lift platform, and it is normally used for military cargo. Over the past few weeks, this aircraft appeared repeatedly in Israel. Same route each time, departing from Ukraine, landing in Tel Aviv, then heading back to Eastern Europe, usually Poland or Romania, two key NATO logistics hubs. No public explanation was provided, no cargo manifest released, no official comment from either Ukraine or Israel. In a heated geopolitical environment, such secrecy is never viewed as normal. Speculation intensified after a short video surfaced. It showed Israeli military container trucks, IDF standard security protocol, a fast loading process, and fully sealed containers. Those containers were loaded directly onto the Ukrainian aircraft with no clarification, no press briefing, no context. Footage like this immediately raises questions. And in the world of strategic analysis, visual cues are never ignored. The contents remain unknown, but the activity itself is enough to draw attention. Israel has seized a sizable amount of weapons in recent operations. RPG-29, Russian-made Kornet ATGMs, AK family rifles, grenades, various calibers of ammunition, anti-armor rockets, and small Iranian-made drones. All of these systems are operational, and they are directly relevant to ground warfare, including in Ukraine. This does not prove a transfer, but the relevance increases the credibility of the speculation. Israel denies supplying weapons to Ukraine. The denial is short, unelaborated, and leaves every major question unanswered. No explanation of the cargo, no explanation of the flight purpose, no mention of the video. Russians criticize this approach directly. If there is nothing to hide, why not provide a clear explanation? Israel's silence looks like a deliberate choice, not an accidental gap. And that choice fuels further analysis. This is the core of the issue. Russia reacted faster and harder than any other country. Several Russian officials stated that if such a transfer happened, it would be viewed as a hostile act. Russian state media amplified the issue, highlighting the flights, highlighting Israel's ties with the U.S., highlighting the tension between Moscow and Tel Aviv, and presenting Israel as a country quietly assisting Ukraine behind the scenes. From Moscow's perspective, Israel's behavior appears inconsistent. Public neutrality, but private activity that does not fit the narrative. The Kremlin views the entire episode as an indication that Israel may be taking a hidden position in the Ukraine conflict. Militarily, Russia emphasizes 2 points. First, these weapons, if they were transferred, would not change the course of the war. The operational impact is limited. Second, the political impact is far more important, because for Russia, this is about trust and strategic positioning. The concern is not the weapons themselves, it is the signal Israel is sending. This narrative appears frequently in Russian media. Israel tries to maintain good relations with Russia, but at the same time appears, at least visually, to cooperate with Ukraine and the United States. The Russian critique is simple. If Israel wants to be neutral, there should be no unexplained activity. If Israel is not neutral, it should be transparent. From Moscow's view, Israel's silence is damaging its credibility. The United States, NATO, and the European Union offered no public comment. For the West, this issue changes very little. Their official support for Ukraine is already massive. Israel's involvement, if it exists, would be insignificant compared to the scale of Western aid. This silence, however, gives the impression that Western actors are not bothered by Israel taking discreet steps. And for Russia, that reinforces the belief that Israel may be acting under U.S. influence. There is a simple reason. Many of the seized weapons are Russian-made. If Russian-made weapons end up being used against Russian forces, the political consequences are significant, even if the weapons were originally captured from local militant groups. From Moscow's standpoint, the issue is not tactical, it is symbolic. And diplomacy is built on symbols. At this stage, several possibilities exist. Israel may be sending non-military equipment. Israel may be responding to U.S. pressure quietly. There may have been a small, undisclosed transfer, or the flights may be unrelated to the conflict entirely. Whatever the case, Russia interprets the pattern as politically meaningful. And for Russia, ignoring such signals is not an option. This episode shows how quickly a geopolitical issue can escalate. A flight pattern, a short video, and silence from the involved parties, enough to trigger international scrutiny. There is still no confirmed evidence that Israel transferred seized weapons to Ukraine, but Russia's strong reaction shows that this issue is not viewed lightly in Moscow. Israel's lack of transparency leaves room for many interpretations. And in geopolitics, silence can be louder than statements. It's important to approach this topic with a critical mindset. Look at the data, examine the patterns, and consider the broader political context. If new information emerges, it deserves to be evaluated together, objectively and without assumptions. Feel free to share your perspective or analysis. Is this simply a logistical operation, or could it reflect a deeper, undeclared policy shift? Disclaimer: this analysis is based entirely on open-source data, public reports, and verified OSINT observations available at the time of production. It does not aim to unfairly target any nation. It aims to provide a professional, balanced understanding of a complex geopolitical situation. Thank you for watching. See you in the next analysis.